What is going on, everybody? It is Cyfal, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Pluggnb type beat. This isn't really like a new wave, but there's kind of been a lot of hype around these types of beats recently. There's just been a few big artists and a lot of attention on various platforms like SoundCloud and TikTok, so I decided to show you how I make beats like this. And before we get into it, I just want to say thank you for the support on the recent tutorials. They've all been doing better than my beats, so if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. I plan to do tutorials every single Friday or Saturday. I've been looking at all your suggestions for videos, so be sure to leave some in the comments below and I'll probably do it. With all that being said, let's get into the cook-up. Alright, so I just got my sounds picked out. I use this plugin Purity a lot for these beats. I've never really used this plugin for anything else, but it works very well for these plug beats. And then for the lead, I got Serum, but I'll get into that after. Alright, so I got this little keyboard sound, and I'm just going to lay down some simple chords in the key of A minor. Now, the scale A minor is all the white notes on the piano, so it's really easy to remember. So basically, what you should be remembering for the chords is to use 7th or 9th chords. Basically, in simpler terms, they're chords with either 4 or 5 notes instead of the usual 3, which you probably learned. So that just gives it a better feel for these types of beats. This one, I personally use the 7th chords, but you can use whatever you want. And then people ask me how to make good chord progressions. I really just choose a root note, build a chord. If it sounds like shit, I try another note until everything sounds good. So I'm actually going to shorten this melody because I think everything's held out too long. And I'm going to see how this sounds now. Now you could stop there for the chord progression, but I actually want to make it twice as long, which is why I have this second half here. But a lot of these beats are really simple and repetitive, so having just 4 bars like that isn't even a bad idea, but I already have an idea for what I want to do for the second half. Alright, so now for the second half, something I didn't really explain in the first half is, on the chord in the 3rd measure and the 7th measure, I inverted the 2nd note, which means I just took that note and put it up 1 octave. You could do this in a lot of your chords just to give it a unique feel, with it being the same exact chord still. So that took a lot longer than expected, but that was the final chord progression, and now I'm just going to base the other melodies around it. So first thing I got is this bell, which I'm just going to copy and paste the chords into, but I'm going to press Shift D, and then I'm just going to make the notes a little longer. And then I'm going to just create a ARP kind of melody in the background. Just something to fill in a bunch of space since they're such long chords and there's not going to be much melody, if that makes sense. So I'm going to play it with the chords. Control up to up it 1 octave. So I'm just going to do that for all of the chords until I'm done. So last and final thing for the melody is going to be the lead, which I got in Serum because I like the leads in there, but you can again use Purity or you can use really whatever you want. I just feel like these 2 plugins work the best, but I use a lot of different plugins. Alright, so for the lead, I'm just going to play around on the keyboard. I don't have an actual MIDI keyboard. I'm literally just going to use the keys on my computer to try and create a smooth melody. You just want it to be really simple, but catch that good vibe. So yeah, I have an idea of like the range of notes I want, and I think I have a melody, but I'm just going to click it in since I don't have a keyboard to record it with. These notes connect, they have like a sliding feel. That's kind of just something that Serum does. I know other plugins do it too, but that's kind of why I like Serum. And something for these melodies is, if you use like these notes that are really like close together, like this, that gives it a really cool feel and helps establish that vibe as well, instead of doing something like this. Just this sounds a lot better. So yeah, just a little switch up at the end, but this is how the final melody sounds. I think the lead is really what gives it that difference from regular plug beats and kind of a slower tempo. So just keep that in mind. And now we're going to move on to the drums. Alright, so for the drums, I really only have 5 sounds picked out. An 808, a clap, hat, open hat, and a PERC. You don't even need the PERC or open hat, to be honest. Just the bare minimum is the 808 clap hat. And a lot of these beats don't have kicks. I just want to add that as well, but you can use a kick if you really want to. This beat, I'm going to have 2 hat patterns. One's going to be more open and have less notes. And then one of them is going to be those same notes, but in more of a 2-step pattern, which I'll show you what I mean at the end. At the end, I'm just going to have it fade out. And you can highlight your notes, hold right click, and then just drag at this velocity tab, and that'll make them all fade out evenly. I'm just going to move over this first roll as well. Only 2 notes on that sound. These are really just simple plug drums, to be honest. You could do whatever you want, but for the tutorial's sake, I'm going to make it as simple as possible. Right now, I say this in a lot of my tutorials, but for the 808, make sure you just use the bass notes of your chord. So I'll just copy and paste the chords over. Now I'll just delete all the notes except for every bottom note of the chord. Alright, now for mixing, there's nothing really specific for this style of mixing, but I will show a couple tips and tricks that I do. So, something that's really easy to do is highlight all these, and then go to the mixer, go to 1, press Ctrl Shift, and then press L, and then all your sounds are already in the mixer and labeled. Same thing for arrangement. There's nothing really specific to this style of beat, but I will show you something I do that somebody's asked me before. Not a lot of people ask me, but I think it's a good tip for beginners. So if you make everything on one pattern like I do, you want to go to pattern 1, right click, press split by channel, and then just delete that. You don't need that. And now on the left, all your patterns should show up. So you just click at the top, hold Ctrl Shift, click on the bottom. Now you have all these here. Then you just drag them in, drag them where it says track 1. Now all your different sounds are here. So that is the full beat. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you're new here, subscribe. I post tutorials every week. Let me know which artists I should cover for future tutorials. And that's it. Thanks for watching.